Final Fantasy, the franchise. All the games, let's review each and literally every game and rank them all in a tier list. And man, this is gonna be crazy, guys, because I have played every FF game, right? I wrote my thesis about role-playing games, so I know all my JRPGs, right? And of course I have a bunch of other games next to me. There's Final Fantasy, right? But we have the Vagrant Story, we got all the different games, right? And I'm gonna review all of them in the video here to go celebrate SNES Rebirth coming tomorrow. And we're gonna start then with the main games, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to opposite 16. And then we go into the different like spin-offs and so on, right? And I played all of them, Crystal Chronicles, FFT, it's an amazing game. I guess we even review Vagrant Story, because it takes place in Evil Eyes, which is the same world as FF12 and so on, right? A bunch of different games. And I don't know, if you like the video, guys, please subscribe, tell me your FF games and so on. And eventually, I think that I am, hopefully, whatever you call it, next video might be like all the Square Enix games, right? Or maybe even all the JRPG games. Like next to me here, I got, for example, what's that? That is Legend of Mana, for example. Here, right, classic Legend of Mana, right, so on. So, you read in the materials of all the Square Enix games, and then eventually, maybe we could do like Suikoden and, all the, every JRPG. I already hear this is crazy. Right at this point, the tier list is massive with like so many games. And then, if you go into like all the games, right. That being said, though, I would be interesting. This is something that I've been discussing many times in my life, right? Doing like a per console. So I collect JRPG games. As a side story here, I have like almost every JRPG, every release basically. And I could see it rather being like, PlayStation 1, right? PlayStation 2, doing per console instead. Okay, it will be more feasible. Otherwise the list is gonna be like thousands of games, right? But I have like all of them, so I played all of them, and discussed it many times. So we're gonna come to Tifa later, of course, and FF7, generally speaking, right? Which everyone is the big thing, right? Tifa and her big stuff. But before that, let's talk about Chaos, right? Let's go back to FF1. So I'm gonna review every game here. We're gonna go over all the FF games, right? Starting with Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 16. As I mentioned, the easiest way. And obviously, some more trash. I generally hate some FF games. As a big fan, you get all critical. No, but say some are terrible. And I wish this here before starting. I do feel that I'm probably more lenient. I don't think I'm biased, but I think I'm lenient on the older games. I think definitely you have to review the games in like a time capsule, right? Like when did the game actually released? So I think FF1 I'm easier on because, well, it's the first game, so right? Like it's way too old. And obviously, like, the graphics are terrible today. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, right? So probably more lenient towards the older games. I definitely say. But anyway, so let's start. And now, of course, this list doesn't follow it in any order, I realize. Oh, this is great. No, it doesn't follow any order. My god. There it is. Yeah, it's like a really weird symbol, the first game. So Final Fantasy 1, guys. I think it's playable. Honestly, FF1 isn't that good. Like, seriously, okay? The first Fantasy game, it's a pretty mid game. Even for its time, it wasn't that good. It's 86. FF2 is much better. So the thing is, FF1, first of all, the storyline is terrible, right? You said the four holy sunshine eyes fighting chaos, right? The storyline is like basically non-existing. You pick your job or class then, beginning of the game, and then you meet Bahamut and get a level up and so on. But it is not playable, but it's not a very good game. I've played it first time as in Origins. Okay, so number two is actually a lot better than FF1. I think that's like kind of have to measure it here. FF1 isn't trash, but it isn't very good, I think, honestly. As I mentioned, right? FF2 is actually quite a much better game. And really, this is like a huge thing here. I think you have the games, right? That the first, it is a massive leap from FF1 to FF2. Like, it really is. Like, Fantasy 2 is like 10 times better than the first game. It's such a massive leap. Today it's like meh, but it really is a massive leap there. And the second game has a bunch of different stuff that the FF games don't usually have, so it mostly is a learn by doing game. So instead of having that, you have like jobs and class or whatnot, right, or talent trees or something like that. Instead, that game is like if you take a lot of damage, you get more health points. If you throw a lot of fire, you get more damage with your fire spell. It's very easy to abuse the game by doing that, like hitting yourself. If you punch yourself, you get more health points. Yeah, like literally, it's quite easy to abuse the game, but it has that going for it. The storyline It's like 10 times better than the first game. A lot of character dies and so on, so I won't spoil it here, but yeah, it is quite a classic game there. And it also introduces some of the coolest classes, right? Like some of the original, jobs or whatever. So of course Kane is the coolest character. He's the first, Lancer, Dragoneer. FF2 is like basically the other people with you that you basically have like 3 characters, and the 4th character keeps getting replaced or dying. Not always, but some of them do. And then basically the 4th character is like a new class this time, or a new job or whatever. FF3, I think, is also kind of playable. So FF3, I guess FF5 does this better, but FF3 is the first game to introduce a job system, right? Where you actually have different combinations of jobs, you can change them around and so on. So it does that fairly well, but I mean, it does that, and it's like, again, kind of similar to FF1. It's like, yeah, okay, it's like, it has it going for it, but FF5 does it much better, right? FF5 takes that system that is now then very popular in not just Final Fantasy or games, similar games, right? And makes it a lot better. So very similar to the first 2 here. It's like a new idea, then it gets better later, right? And the storyline is one of the weaker, I think. So, like I said earlier, I think the first games are actually good. Actually, the first 3-4 games. I think it's gonna be a huge jump now, right? Honestly, because now we're getting to the 4th game, and I think that is truly, as I mentioned earlier, 1 to 2 is a big jump, right? 3 to 4 is an even bigger jump, also because it really is like the Nintendo is the first 3 games. And then of course you have the next 3 games, right? The 4, 5, 6, like classic rated Super Nintendo. Then of course 7, 9, it's like 3, 3, 3, right? And the next 3 are much better, right? And everything, music, graphics, storytelling, the length of the games. That's what the first games were short to. So I feel now we take a big jump here. Here we go. So the 4th game is really, like, now we're getting up here a lot. That might be the sequel, honestly. There's so many icons here, but the 4th, we have like 4, 5, 6 down here. So I think it's the real. That isn't the original. But I guess the 4th game, it's much better. Storytelling, really good, right? I don't want to spoil too much here, but yeah, the storytelling in the 4th game is similar to the 2nd game, right? Where character die, you're missing your characters, you have to save them. That turned into kind of the up or down universe thing, and missing fallen characters. This, I think, in the 4th game is where the storyline really starts feeling like the bigger FF games that we know, love and remember now, right? Even the second game had like the hints of that, and again the 4th game is like where I think that they really upgrade those kind of like the death and so on, right? So it's really good storytelling. Then are different characters, can have the summoning, so there is a really good game, and I'm gonna do them, I feel, all of them here now. 5th game, also very good, right? 5th game, as I mentioned, it was the job system, it makes it kind of work, right, So the 3rd game was the first to have the job system, and it was like decent, right? The 5th game is like, right? It really made the job system amazing. You have different changes, you combine different jobs, and that was just like a huge thing when it's new. It was a really big thing. Of course, what the 5th game does though is that it makes no character unique, right? And this is something that I feel the FF games has gone back and forth between, right? Where are the character the unique class or job, whatever, or like the personality, or everyone can be anything, right? Which in the next game, the 6th game, that game, everyone goes back to being like, well, I am this thing, I am a ninja, only one summoner, basically, right? And so on. But in the 5th game, everyone could be everything. So it's quite different actually between 4, 5, 6. 4 as well is like 6. Everyone's one class is, right? And then in the 7 comes later, but yeah, it really is, I think, a huge difference between the games. For example, 9, right, is back to that everyone, like in the 5th game, is what they are, right? Oh, sorry, the 6th game. 6th game. Where 8 and 5 is like everyone can be anything, right? Because you can give different elements. So I think it's like a huge difference. Honestly, one of the biggest difference in any FF game, right? And generally JRPG, but especially any FF game, really is, can you manage to be anything that you want, right? Yeah. Are you like Shadow, you're a ninja, and you're born as a ninja, you can only be a ninja? Or is it like FF5, where everyone can be any job and combine them, right? Is it like an FF9 where you are Stainer, the knight guy, or is it like an FF8 where you can draw and just combine any combo you want, right? That really matters a lot, I feel, for how the game actually is played, right? The actual gameplay, not the storyline, but the actual gameplay is tremendously affected by are the character locked into like their role, so to speak, right? Very massive so. And one thing though, but I will say, honestly, in all the games where the characters are locked into their role, obviously I would say that the characterization is better, right? Because like you are that character. I am the ninja all the way through, yeah. And in the games where it's kind of like do whatever you want, they tend to be a little more harder to make it. But it depends, But yeah, the 5th game was the first game I feel really where everyone can do anything, and they lack kind of some identity, but it's a really good gameplay, good storyline. Then of course we get to the 6th game, which is here, which is of course like one of the best games ever made. FF6 is amazing. I feel like I don't feel I have to really like. I feel like I don't really have to like explain this thing, right? You got Kefka the clown and so on, no, but FF6, okay. Let's try to. I don't know. Let's try to be fair here, but it is like honestly, it feels hard to have to motivate. I'm talking about my camera here. Amazing the early days. I think honestly it's like these are the first 6 games, right? This is the OG games here. I'm covering whatever, and I feel that it's like hard to having to motivate this. I feel FF6 is like the legendary retro FF game. And I know now these days like 7, 8, and 9 are retro, I guess too, right? But for me, retro is like pre-PlayStation, I suppose. And FF6 is like an amazing game. The storyline, the storytelling, the characterization, the antagonist is so much better than the protagonist. It isn't just about terror and so on, right? But I feel that Kefka, that you have such an amazing antagonist, is a huge change. Of course, in the next game, we have Sephiroth, my favorite character, coming to him soon here. But I think FF6 really stands out like that in the previous games because FF5 has like Gilgamesh, I guess. Yeah, like I think a big issue, honestly, with the first 5 games is that you don't really care about the bad guys. There is like the evil empire, right? The 6th game has the first really like good antagonist. That isn't just whatever the evil empire. No, this is like a real antagonist. FF6 is amazing story-wise. The start, the characters, and everything in the game. It's just better than previous game. The game is starting to have the typical FF identity. For example, that you have to go and like to beat this boss, you have to go to this tower and like throw reflect magic on your shelf and so on. There's one boss in the game where he has reflected him permanently. So you have to, first reflect on yourself, right? And then you can't bounce on him. Same with Sin Behemoth in FF12, right? Yes, in 12 and in 9 with VV, you can also combine it. And so on, I get my point. But all that stuff starts in the 6th game, I would say. Actually, 5 has the mime fight, though, where you can't do anything, because he will just mime you, but he will throw a meteor at you. But, but I feel like it's 6, and a little bit 5 then, is when they started having those interesting, like, combo mechanics and so on, right? And then in the 7th, of course, coming to that now then, you get the mini games and so on. So 7 is obviously like the really breakthrough JRPG, right? You can bring it up immediately. Obviously, I'm gonna put FF7 at the top, of course, and I think it's a better game than FF6 for many reasons why. But like I said, right, everything I said now with FF6 is true for 7 as well. It's like an amazing game, great storytelling. Obviously, Sephiroth is like my favorite character, right? The coolest bad guy, amazing antagonist, Unova, Hodio. That's all great, right? Great storytelling. But also, FF7 introduced everything that we can today expect from an FF game, and generally the whole genre itself, right? With all the minigames, circular racing, secret bosses that are super hard, the weapon, right? Everything all in saucer, the tower defense game. All that stuff, right? And in the later games, we're gonna have like the card games, like in F8 and 9, Chocobo Hot and Cold and so on, right? Blitzball, of course. But 7 was that game, they introduced all of these mechanics, right? All these ideas, right? And then other games like Sukoden and Breath of Fire and so on, they all basically took after that. We also have our own card game and so on, right? Whatever, Witcher, right? Gwent, yeah. So all of that started in like FF7, really. That's where they had all of this. Again, the mini games, the side stuff. Yuffie is like a extra character earlier. You can miss Vincent and so on. All this stuff was really hammered in 7, right? That means that 6 had that stuff too, don't get me wrong. FF6 also had a lot of that stuff, right? So it isn't purely 7, but I think that 7 and 6 combined are very much the core that's like created, or like maybe not created, but like established the tropes of the genre, right? So it is an incredibly important game. And then, like I said, older genres and so on has also taken after FF games generally, but especially FF7, right? And of course had the cutscenes too and all that stuff. But yeah, FF7 is like the best game. It is like their game, I think. Now, because 8 is FF15 is an amazing game. Maybe I take FF15 now. I'll take it later, but FF15 is like a fantastic game. I love FF15 and Cloud in the game as well. But we can take 8 first, and let's go in order. 8 is a little bit, for me, not a very good FF game, right? It's a much worse game. I think it's better than 2 though, of course, but it is a much worse game than FF7. So 7 is like the pinnacle of fantasy games in a lot of ways, right? And then 8 was just like a worse game. 8, first of all, 8 didn't really like establish anything new, right? It had, like I mentioned, a card game, which is really good. I love the card game. Do 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 do. I love this music though. I have to say, I love this. I love the soundtrack. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. This is the best soundtrack ever, if I'd say. So yeah, I love them all. It's a card game, absolutely. But otherwise, I mean, the storyline is fine. It's not the best storyline, if I'd say, but it's not the worst either. The system though is pretty bad, right? The thing is that FF8 has the draw system, F7 has the materia system, which is pretty fine. You know? Materia system is pretty good. It's not the best either, honestly, but I think it's pretty good. But 8 has this like a draw system, which is terrible. So what I like with the draw system is that you can draw and then you can combine different. So the way it works is that you have like your weapon on you and your armor and so on, right? And then you can like put like, if I put like 100 fire on my armor, now I'm like immune to fire, right? But if I put 100 Firaga, the better fire, right? Now I'm absorbing fire, and so on. And if I put Ultima, the best spell in the game, 100 on my armor, now I'm immune to all elements, and so on, right? So you have like, so you can have an interesting build. So in one way, actually, I really like FF8, the way you can like, spec your different items and so on. But to get to that point, the game is so tedious. You have to like drain every enemy. You have to, every boss fight, especially Ultima weapon, I think it's Ultima, you have to drain them, like you drain and drain and drain, so the character gets like 100 of each element, and it takes like hours. Some fights are just so long, and they're not hard. I mean, they're long because F8 is just terrible, because you're fighting Ultima weapon, right? And you have to drain 300 Ultima from him, so instead of just defeating him, you stand there draining, heal, drain, heal. Like, the boss is super easy, but you have to just like keep draining the boss until you have, maximized your loot basically, and then you finally just defeat him. So it isn't hard, it's just like really boring. So the system is terrible there, but I actually like how you customize the character in F8. So the way you can fix it is that, let's say that if you drain once, you maximize immediately something like that, then it'll be fine, because it isn't even hard, it's just boring, isn't there? So that was really terrible in that game. And then another issue with the game is that all the enemies are like your level. So you can, the bosses aren't, but normal enemies are. So you can never like power level in the game, which I dislike in games. And it's like a really easy abuse in the T-Rex in the first garden. He always gives you 1+1 level, like 1.1 level. And you can have like 100 death from Siren, or whatever that was called, F8. The Siren, and then you can just one-shot the T-Rex every fight. So you can level. I did as a kid. You can level to level 100 in like an hour or something. You can easily get to like level 100. It doesn't matter that much though, because the level to your level, but the bosses don't. If you want to be level 100 in FF8, it takes like less than an hour. You just need 100 death on you, which you get from the first win boss. And for that matter, you can also miss Guardian summons in F8. But you have to drain them from some bosses. It's just a bad. That is really bad though. That also is really bad thing about it, because you have to actually drain the boss to get some summons. Some summons you get by storyline or find them is alright, but some you have to drain from the enemy, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm pretty fine with, of course, you have to defeat a boss to get a summon, of course, like in many games. But in that game, you actually miss someone if you don't necessarily. It's like you have to steal them from the boss. Yeah, like it's so stupid. So 8 is pretty bad, and Chocobo thing is terrible in the game. So I put it in good, but maybe it's like playable. Nah, but it's like I said, I love the card game. I actually do like how the actual elements works when you have them. I hate how to get them, but I like when you actually have them. I like them. So it's a little bit up and down there. Now it's 9, of course. 9. Another amazing game. You have Vivi, which was the best character ever, right? Freaking Vivi-chan, and you also got like hot sword lady and so on. But yeah, like it's just FF9 is amazing. It's a classic game where the legendary. It went back to the roots, right? Is what you should say. But FF9. But I think FF9 has really good storyline. It's good pacing in the game and so on as well. But it also had the perfect mixture of minigames, and that's important for the full game, right? Chocobo Hot and Cold is one of the best Chocobo, if not the best. And also a better version of the card game from 8, which is again a good game. So it had that thing going for it, and just generally really lovable characters. And I think 9 is just a funnier game than 8. Right? 8 is like everyone looks like normal people, you know. But 9 is more into fantasy, and you know, one is a black mage, so on. Yeah, but yeah, honestly, the characters in 9 are so good. Like, it's so good. So yeah, FF9 is like so much better than FF8, seriously. And 7, of course, as I mentioned earlier. So 9 is like arguably even better than 7. And I would say that I think 9 is better than 7. Or 6, I mean. So it's like, it lives here, almost like here. But yeah, FF9 is... I think a lot of people want FF9 to be remade after FF7, right? But it is so much better than FF8, seriously. Like, it's like several times better than FF8. I do like Rinoa, though. I mean, Rinoa's a fine character. Yeah, I mean, she's a fine character, but the love story of 8 is fine. I mean, yeah, story. Again, the story is probably the best part of 8. Like, but it's just a game around it. Now then, Yuna. Oh, Yuna, man. I freaking love my Yuna, man. She's awesome. There's a new name. Oh, look at that. Freaking, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? The wrong game there. Come with that later. Yeah, we did the first game first then. What can I do for you? Then we have the FF10 2 as well later. But I almost gonna do it now then. It's a pop song, man. It's called a Kanui. Okay, it's FF10. Not a great game. Maybe even in Omega level. I definitely put it higher than 4 and 5 though, and I put actually like that. Okay, whatever. F10 is a great game. It's a really good game. Yeah, it's I love Tidus. Blitzball is amazing. Blitzball okay. Honestly, I put it in Omega if from Blitzball alone. But seriously, to me it matters a lot, right? Everything around the game, and FF10 is like it's just a good game. Actually, I probably like it more than 6 honestly because. FF10 is like, it's not a great game with everything around it. It's like the Blitzball is, I think, is still the best minigame in FF of all time. And arguably is the best minigame of all role-playing games. Like, Blitzball is amazing. It could be its own game. I love Blitzball so much. And it also has the all-bet system, right? It has the, like, having to avoid the 200 lightning boss with Kimari and so on. But seriously, FF10 took all these things that, like, 7, 8, and 9 has, you know, worked on, right? All the extra stuff around the game, all the fluff around the game. It just made it so good, yeah. Like, everything around the actual, like, core gameplay is fantastic. And then the actual core gameplay is also great, you know. It's the first turn-based game, right, in many, many years. With, like, a timer system and so on, a delay system, which is really good. It has a really great collection, to find all the monsters. Some good extra bosses, you know, the Mag Sister, the Jimbo and so on, some extra stuff like that, right? Super hard, yeah, special bosses. Actually, one thing I don't like with 9, honestly, Osma is kinda hard, but I feel that that's probably actually one minus with 9, which I mentioned earlier, is that it has 2 easy extra bosses. It has hardest at Osma, yeah. 9 actually lacks the bonus content and end game, but a little bit like that. But yeah, like FF10 has like everything around it, so good. And the actual main storyline is great, good characters, similar to, I guess, like a mixture between 8 and 9, I suppose, because some of them, like Himari, isn't a human, but the other one looks, you know, human, so to speak, and a little more wacky outfits. And I also like how they went into more Asian theme after Yuna, so you know. She was more like a Buddhistic priest, something like that. So they kind of went away a little bit from that typical like Middle Earth, medieval Europe look to it. So that's good as well. So I'm actually wearing my FF12 shirt, right? So I love FF12 as well. So yeah, FF12 then. Obviously I like that game a lot. Here it is. Well, actually I missed it. Okay, I missed 11. Whatever. Okay, very briefly, 11 is terrible. Okay, seriously. 12 is up here. There's 11. Is that 11? Yeah, I think it's right, yeah. 11 is trash, man. 11 is just trash, seriously. I won't even bother with 11. 14 is a good game, but 11 is like whatever, okay? First of all, obviously, it's a massive multiplayer LAN game, but it wasn't even that good, okay? I played 11. I had one friend played 11 a bit. It wasn't that good, it was super grinding and so on, so no. 11 is just trash, I won't even bother explaining why it's trash. So whatever, 12. 12 is one of my favorite games. Fantastic, so my favorite. So I said one of my all-time favorite, how's it call him? My idol, Yasumi. Yeah, he did. As a kid growing up, right? He was my idol, you know. He got my ass here, but seriously, you know, I was a huge fan of FF12 as a kid. Like it was just like, oh, there we go, it's perfect, yeah, like that. I was a big fan. of FF12. It was just. It's basically in Vagrant Story, first of all, same universe, Evil Eyes. But I worshipped, Yasuo Matsuno is my favorite game designer as a kid, right? He made, Ogre Battle, Let's Ogre, FFT, Vagrant Story, then of course FF12. FF12 is an amazing game. It just takes everything that I love so much with fantasy games. It's so filled with reference everywhere. Everything is connected. It introduces all these like hunts and marks and all, which all the FF games now uses, right? Like they get the mini bosses. But in that game, it was really well done how they made it. That's the first game, and it's already the best version. They have so many extra bosses, like Sin Behemoth and so on. You have to find an ultimate weapon. It was incredibly. I think by far has the best world design, the best level design. Is easily FF12, and just Vagrant Story also has an amazing level design. Like the thing is that with Matsuno, he's just like the best when it comes to thinking about all the pieces together. Right? How connected tunnels, you can go in the city, come back up there, all the summons, and the actual combo system was great. I love the gambits, the if statement, the coding. I like the code, I guess, to some extent, but it was fantastic. FF12 is an amazing game, like seriously. And of course, I'm a huge fan of. Akiko Yoshida, right? They made Nier and so. He's an artist, right, of course. That's why wearing the shirt, right? Yeah, but like he made the art, of course. FF12 is like one of the best games, and in my opinion, it's even better than. I'll put it even higher than like FF. It's like up here for me. It's like the second best. But it's really good. Like it's fantastic in so many aspects. The only weakness is that Van, yeah. But the main character is Ash. I was saying the main character is Ash. No, the prince is the main character. This badass tough princess lady is the main character. Now 13 is also a game I really love. Lightning has a poster Lightning over there, right? Lightning is badass. I've always been a huge fan of FF13 as well. A lot of people hate it, but I actually really like FF13. I guess not much heat. It is one thing I get heat for, I feel. It is one thing I feel I get heat for as an FF fan, right? Every time I talk about what good is FF11 or whatever, 9 and so on, it's not that I hate this thing or that thing, no. It's that I like 13, okay? I always get so much heat that I actually love FF13. Like, it's not that I hate FF8 or something, no, it's that I love 13, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. But I really do like 13. First of all, Lightning is like the best female character. Coolest, like Fang, of course. I like Fang, I like Lightning. They're both like badass, waifu characters. Vanille, I love Vanille. Super funny character. Sash is the best written dad ever in FF, Jesus Christ. And Hope and Snow are kind of like I guess. But I don't hate them. First of all, F13 to this day has the best combat system in Fantasy. They change it every time, right? And they have never managed to make it as good as 13, okay? 13, amazing combat system. The only game that's a better system is 13-2, okay? 13-2 is even better. I'll come to that later. It's even better. I like the storyline. It's the best storyline ever, but it's pretty good. I like the storyline. Combat system amazing. Craft system also amazing. The talent tree system also great. Not the best talent better, but it's up there. So it has the best actual core gameplay, right? But it was so much hate for that. It was always linear. FF10 is more linear, whatever like that. But I also the most heat for liking 13. Coming 32 later, but 32 is even better. Like, 32 is a masterpiece, seriously. 32 is like the best spin-off of all FF games. Coming to that later soon, but it really is. 32 is actually fantastic. 32 is like by far the best side game of the main games. It really is, which is that one, right? But now then we have 14. So we have 14 randomly born, right? So 14 now is a bit weird, because let's talk about FF14. FF14 is hard, I feel, now to review here, because it is a very different beast, right? First of all, the first version was terrible, like it was really terrible. So that would have been trash. Okay, and 11 was trash. Okay, 11 wasn't a good MMORPG. It was worse than WoW or whatever. So it was not a good MMORPG. And same thing with 14. Okay, so the original 14 was trash. It was trash. Okay, it was trash. Right? It's like 11. But then Randomly Born is really good, right? If anything, I don't think I've ever seen an MMORPG come back so strong at FF14. So it went from like trash tier to like seriously Omega tier. It went up to like Omega tiers over here. Like it was such a good MMORPG. From being trash to like it went from like the bottom to the top, which is crazy. I think it's probably the best, like, you know, again, massive multiplayer, yeah, like, you know, revival, or you call it, right? Amazing. But in all though, compared to like single player games, I do feel it's hard to actually judge it here, because every other game in this list here, except obviously F11 then, is also like a single player game, more or less. So it's a little bit like, well, it's hard to judge it here. So I'm just gonna put it in like the mid here and just leave it there. But I do feel it's like it's a little bit unclear how to judge it compared to everything else, I feel. But it really was a massive success story, as I pointed out. Now 15 then. I hate 15, it's freaking trash, man. I hate FF15, okay? I said so many times, it's a trash fantasy game. It's like one of the worst FF games. And I will rant on you. I'm going in rant mode, guys. But I also hit immediately, okay? And I'm going to rant about both of them on the same time. Okay, I'm going to do them on the same time, okay? 15 and 16, trash. It's massive, massive trash. Pile of trash, okay? I really, really, really hate F15 and 16. I have 16 behind me here, regret buying it. It is the worst shit ever. Why have it in the freaking... I have that collected... I hate this thing so much. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. Anya here is standing on the 16 game here. It is such a terrible game. See, Anya fell down now because the game is so terrible. I genuinely hate 16 so much. And I bought my PS5 to play FF16, and I hate it. And I hated 15 as well, right? So if Rebirth isn't good, I'm still buying these games. But seriously, I really do hate it. 16 and 15, right? And I want to talk about them at the same time, okay? Because they both have this exact same issue. They're too easy. They're far too easy. And I really do hate people that say, oh, you're just not a good player. You're old man. You're a veteran. You have... No, I was always very good at gaming as a kid, you know. I've been the best player in the world of games. I've been working in the gaming industry, blah, 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 blah. No, these games are just so brain dead, okay? In FF15, I died 0 times. 0 times in the whole game, okay? 0 times. In FF16, I died once, I believe, on the dragon. Yeah, the first time I met the dragon, it's like 20 levels higher than you. The games are so brain dead easy. 16 disappointed me so much. At first I liked it, right? Because it is flashy, it feels good and so on, but it's just so incredibly brain dead. You can just like button mash your way through everything. And of course it's different if you do it good or not. And some of the trials are a little hard, I guess, if you just button mash through them. You have to like do the correct combos, I suppose. But they aren't really that hard. You have to just be like, oh, in this Shiva trial I have to use like this ice ability more because I get more points. But it isn't hard. You have to just be a little bit adaptive, right? But both of them are just completely brain dead. They're so incredibly easy. And honestly, I've been pondering this for a lot, because I hated the 15, right? For so many reasons. And I talk about more length now then, but I'm thinking about it. I might like it more than like 16, okay? because at least they had a better world, right? I like FF15's open world is much better than 16. It's more discovery, like going around in the world or driving around, but finding the different. I mean, one thing I have to do like in 15, right, is finding the different dungeons, finding the different like weapons and so on in 15. So the actual like level design in 15 is much better than 16, and that's a fact. Like there's not even like a question of that because it's much better. 16 has this like level design that reminds me of like Neo or something, where you pick different areas. And it's like a small area, right? Usually quite usually quite a catacomb, usually quite like a linear area. You fight some enemies, you go to the next area. 15 actually had a pretty good world. I mean, honestly, if there's one thing I will say is 15 has one of the best open worlds of the JRPGs. So that's a much better than 16. However, and this coming to the point, right? Because 16. I do like the storyline, right? I like the graphics. I mean, that's true. I mean, 16 is like a better story than 15, right? They're both trash games, don't get me wrong. I really do hate both 15 and 16. Like, I really, really hate them. Like, I really hate them. Like, I'm a record, but I genuinely, like, I really, really hate them, okay? Because, again, they're so braindead. The thing is that even if 16 has a better storyline than 15, and a much better graphical representation and cool cutscenes, it's like watching a movie with buttons, right, Because the game is so incredibly easy. I have never, like, failed playing 16 or 15, as I mentioned. I've never died. I haven't died in either of them ever, basically, right? Like, I don't even remember dying in them. It is so easy. And it's just like, it's like, yes, 16 is a better movie than 15, but they're both movies, right? You just pressing one button, you can't lose in them. They're so incredibly easy. And every like cool fight scene in 16, we're flying around as the Phoenix or as the Ifrit and it's cool actions. Those things are pretty fun in an actual like experience, right? But it really is like watching a movie when you press a button a few times. And I mean, the thing is that when you play 16, it's still enjoyable. But I feel like I will never ever replay 16 in my life. You know what I mean? I have like replayed every FF game except 15 and 16, I think. I will never replay 16 because it's just a movie. I can just rather watch the cutscenes, right? It is fun to watch, don't get me wrong. It's fun to watch them. But why would I play them? And why would you even buy the game? You can watch it on YouTube, honestly. Because I've Annabelle, I mean, I like the storyline. Again, I like the story of the characters. But it's just like, it's not a game, right? And 15 was exactly the same, where it was so broken. 15 was... the combat system is worse than 16, I would say. So you just kind of flimps around and knocks out. Yeah, it's just very uncontrollable. But 15 was like just broken. Because if you use a potion in 15, right, you could just revive everyone forever. And it was this weird thing where you could just like... It was like impossible to die in 15. Because you could always just throw a potion on everyone and get up again. Like, you never were worried ever to lose. And when I played 15, this is actually the thing, you can look at my channel. When I played 15, I went into the clock tower, right? The hardest lag in the game, pre-beat in the game, and I took the wrong path 3 times. So in that labyrinth, you have to take 4 different elevators, and it's like, I don't know if it's random or whatever, but I had the worst luck, and got the worst order of labyrinths, like 1, 2, 3. So maximum boss, like 3 boss fights unnecessarily. And then I go to the real boss fight, the dragon, and I still beat it the first attempt. Yeah, like literally. And I was like really under level. I was like half the level it's supposed to be. So the enemy is like level 70. I was like level 45 or 30 or something. I was like 30, 40, I don't know. I was like at least almost half the level the enemies were. And I took the wrong path, 3 extra bosses, and I still did it easily. Like, the game was just incredibly easy. As with 16, right? So, my god. This is not a game either of them. And I mean, I was harsh on FF Remake Part 1 as well, right? It has the same issues. It really has. It's hard to those 2 games, but it's also unfortunately closer to those 2 than the other games. And it's sad too, because I mean, as I mentioned earlier, 13 is like, has an amazing combat system. And 13 is also arguably like the hardest, the hardest main story of FF games, arguably. It's much harder than most of them. And compared to 15, which is arguably the easiest one, that or 16, right? it really felt weird too. Yeah, you're coming from like the hardest into like the easiest one. But I guess it's unfortunately it's a whole curse of becoming too popular, right? That's how it feels, you know. Yeah, like they just went completely mainstream and they just had to be like, oh no, it has to be super easy now. Which really ruined the game. But yeah, 15, 16 are both terrible. Trash tier, 16 is trash. 7, 12, 13, 9, 10, 6 are like top tier, Omega tier. 4, 5 is like, Ultima tier. 8, 2. And more brigade a bit weird. 1 and 2 are like playable, and I don't know, like 15, 16 are just trash, man, just trash. But anyway, that's kind of the main games, right? I will be quicker now, I feel, with many of these games. And for that matter, yes, we are not gonna talk about like this game. This is like FF15 on the mobile, okay? Like I'm not gonna bother. It's just it's trash, okay? It's trash. Yeah, it's also trash. No, but seriously, of course, this is trash because this is just 15, but on a worse engine, right? Like a worse version of it. Yeah, like obviously it's worse. And the Shocker games I don't care about. So let's start with the good ones. I think. Whatever. I'm just gonna go with good. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with good games now. Then it'll be easier. I'll just go with the games I like, right? I don't care about that. So FFT, that's a mega tier game. That's like up here. Same creator. FFT is amazing. Okay, so FFT is like Texas Ogre. It's a turn-based, chessboard, isometric board game, right? And that was really based on Texas Ogre, which is a better game, though. Get me wrong, Texas Ogre is an even better game than FFT. But FFT is an amazing game. It combines Texas Ogre with the job system of FF5, right? And it is one of the best FF games of all time. It's an amazing game. You should play it or play one of the updated versions. It's a fantastic spin-off game. Another game is really good is, of course, FF16 2. I think it's this game, which is honestly is like one of the best games ever made. Like seriously. So FFT and FF13 2 are like straight up the two best spin-off games of fantasy. So yeah, FF32 then is like it's like 13, but everything's better. The storyline is the only worst thing, but 13 combat system is amazing. And instead of having just your 2 party members and then third one, the third party member now is like a Pokemon. So you have to capture like a monsters, and they have different class systems, and it's an amazing combo system, plus the Pokemon and collectible, and it's really great. And they have so many mini games and chocoballs that you can have in your party, chocoball in your party, and so on. And it also has basically the Chrono Trigger thing, where you put like a plant, you time travel, like it has a tree, and it's just like I mean seriously, it's a 10 out of 10 game. 13.2 is amazing. I got all the fragments. It is like the best FF game. It's crazy. Like I would honestly say I probably like 13.2 more than I like FF7. Like it's a fantastic game. The only thing is bad with it is the storyline. The storyline isn't terrible, but it just has a pretty weak storyline. Like from a gameplay standpoint, FF13.2 pure gameplay is probably the best fantasy game. Like seriously, it is probably the best FF game, and I say it now, but I mean it. Yeah, FF13.2 from a pure gameplay standpoint is the best FF game. Like seriously, Jesus Christ. But then Lightning Returns is a very different game, combat and so on. And I put it here in Ultima. It isn't as good as other ones. Now 10.2 also a pretty good game, Like 10.2 is better than put here. 10.2 is a pretty fun game, You got Pain, which is badass. You got Yuna, you got like, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? It's a great game. So in this game, you had now everyone can be everything, right? So they have like a job system, but instead of having the normal job system, you have like, I don't know, they change clothing. The girls are like, yeah, and it's like a Sailor Moon. They're like, woo, time to be a mechanic, and they change clothing. But it actually is a pretty cool system because the game is actually, honestly, FF10.2 is really interesting because it takes the classic job system, right? And then it basically throws like Sailor Moon on it, and all of the girls are like doing, like magical girl transformations. But when you're doing that, you get more bones and so on. If you do all of them, like all your jobs in one fight, you get better stats and so on. So the game is like promoting you to constantly change classes. And it's like actually a really interesting thing. And it really is like FF5 has made Sailor Moon, and it really works. It really works. It has a fantastic combo system. And then it has a bunch of crazy mini games, like giving someone a massage. It's like a really game. This sweet game, Blitzball manager instead, and so on. And pretty decent storyline, and you have to go back and forth and so on, and a lot of secrets, and you have the mass outfit. It's a very good game, I feel. Genuinely, it's a very good FF game. Some of my favorites. What more do we have? I think it's basically on my top spin-off games, I would say. Now, Vagrant Story is different though. I have it behind me here. Like, Vagrant Story is like up here, guys, but I have it here right behind me, I think. Yeah. So Vagrant Story is special, right? Vagrant Story is in the list here. Arguably should be in the list, but Vagrant Story is like from the same person that made FFT, FF12 is alright. Yasumi Matsuno. It's in the same universe as 12 is alright. Evil Eyes. So I guess it's in the list here. It is a fantastic game. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It is one game I would love to see a remake of Square Enix. It's Vagrant Story. It's a good game. It's like the storyline, the characters, how you fight is very different, the change system, the risk system. It has a unique combat system, honestly. Parasite Eve is probably the close to it, a little bit for PlayStation 3. It's a very different gameplay, and you have the risk taking, and you have to reload, and it's very, very different. It's a very unique game, and it has a cool twist and so on. The only thing that is bad is it's like a short storyline. The game isn't short at all, but the storyline feels kind of sporadic, like memory loose. It's like a horror thriller. It could be an amazing game. Like give it like a Silent Hill. I would love to see it getting more horror too. Like Silent Hill new game kind of thing. So it is a very, very good, extremely good game. I like it more than FT definitely. But it's the same. It's all the same creator here. Very, very good game. Well, anyway, now we're kind of like after spin-off games that are not as good. I don't care as much about them. So this I think is Advanced 2, which actually is a pretty good game too. So Advanced is FFT Advanced is also Evil Eyes, it's Isekai. And the storyline is terrible. Jesus Christ, man! You're playing as the bad guy, okay? You're playing as the bad guy. That's the point of it. But it is from a combat system. It's really good. You're playing the typical tactical isometric game, right? With the judge systems and the job system, and it's a really, really well made. Like how every class combines the jobs and the different return abilities. So gameplay aspect wise, it is definitely better than FFT. FFTA, yeah, it's better. It's much better actually. But storyline is just completely terrible. Like it's just, oh god, it's like the worst storyline. Arguably, it has the worst storyline of all FF games, like straight up. Because you are playing as the bad guy. You are the bad person. But of course, but the game keeps making you be the good guy. But you're clearly the bad guy. It's just a terrible experience playing this game. It's just, oh my god, it's so annoying. But the gameplay is fantastic. So now what more do we have? We have what more do I care about? This is one of the Dissidia games, right? It's all the fighting games. They're like Dissidia. However, the games I find them like playable. Okay, so these are the martial art fighting games. I think that's not the Dissidia version. So these are all like decent. I don't think they are very good. They're basically like the weird flying around fighting games they made. I have them. I have played them. Yeah, I have them. Like they're not fantastic. I bought the latest one very cheaply. The latest one was like $10 something. Yeah, so no one plays it. But I honestly only bought the latest one because like my collection. I was like, well, I need to have it. That's relevant one now. Sorry, this should be like that. And yeah, okay, there we go. That should be in trash. Yeah, that's the actual. Recap there. They got Cerberus, also a decent game. It's like a very different game course. It's basically just like continue the Vincent storyline, but the game is very different. It's not like amazing or anything like that. I'm not a huge fan of that game, even though I like Vincent as a character. Put it up there. Most games in the list now. Oh, that's the last one. That's the. Not Dissidia. Yeah, but they're all kind of mediocre. They're all kind of mid. They're not very fun. Now this is a terrible game. This is trash. Okay, this is trash, man. This here is like Mystic Quest. This is the Final Fantasy for like idiots, okay? This is like insult of Final Fantasy. Yeah. So Mystic Quest is like a worse Final Fantasy, which they made in like 93, I believe. Because they were like, well, Americans are too dumb to play FF4 or 5, whatever. So we're making this game. It's like stupid Final Fantasy for like idiots, for idiot Westerners. Like, seriously, this is the Final Fantasy game that is worse than ever regard. Because they were like, we have to dumb it down for those idiots. Yeah, like it's a really bad game. The backstory is funny. It's only this Dissidia game. Jesus Christ, so many of them. It's just terrible. But where is it? Yeah, so same thing here then. These are all, you have the Legends over here. None of them are actually FF games, right? So the Legend games are Saga to Game Boy. So let's say 1, 2, and 3 Legend are in the list here. But they are not actual FF games. They're just purely called that outside of Fantasy, right? And here you have Adventure, which is the same thing there. That is Seiken 1. So that also actually isn't Fantasy. That's just called Fantasy outside of Japan. So there's a bunch of games in this list here that aren't actually FF games. They're like straight up just like rename them, right, for the European and American market. So I will ignore them because they aren't actually FF games. They're just like renamed FF games. Yeah, like Seiken, like this the Seiken 1. So the Legend of Mana 1 then. I have like here. Example is Legend of Mana 4, right? Or Seiken 4. So that is kind of pointless to talk about. But it's not a very good game for that matter, but I digress. So what more left do we have? We have the music games. Oh yeah, this game is actually pretty good for what it is. Crystal Chronicles. So Crystal Chronicles, you have to play it. I guess I like it more actually, this game here. Crystal Chronicles, you have to play, it's like a GameCube game. And it was made so you had to play it as 4 people. So that's just interesting when I was new, because I played with my friends, and it's like it's more like real time hack and slash kind of game, right? But it's pretty fun. But with the big caveat that you have to play it as 4, right, or at least 2 people. It is a multiplayer FF game. Yeah, you have to play it as multiplayer. It's not very fun to play it alone. So in one way, it's trashed here because you have to actually play like 3-4 people. I only have played as 4 people though. I have never played this game as a single person. I only played with friends. So I would imagine it's much worse if you play it by yourself, right? Like seriously. But what more do we have? Type 0 I saw in the middle somewhere. That's a decent game. It's not a spin-off. There it is. This is decent. This is like somewhere here. A little different gameplay. It takes place in the 13-15 universe. Yet another like some kind of crystal. It's really funny how they try to make that novellas crystal of storyline. Like, yeah, it's something with crystals or something. They don't have anything to do with each other. But I think it takes place like in between those games or something. I don't know. It's supposed to be that. But it's a pretty mid game. I would recommend it. I bought it on Steam for like $5 something. Honestly. Yeah, like it was super cheap. Some bundle somewhere. Like whatever. You can buy it then. I mean, almost every game I have, right, Fantasy, are in, of course, hard copy, right? I don't buy them DLC usually, but that game isn't very good. It's like, it's decent, so I was like, whatever, I buy it, digitally. Same thing, and have some other mobile games. Most of mobile games here. There it is, the yeah. I actually kind of like these games. These are like the musical games. These are up here, I feel. Like, these different rhythm games. They actually are pretty good. I think they're pretty entertaining actually. They aren't like fantastic, but they're pretty decent. So you have to play the game and press the buttons or whatever, right, to do your beats. And of course you play different FF musics. In the latest game, I like it how they also had like Saga, and they have Legend of Mana, like Dominia Palace. So the latest game is pretty good. They actually have like 100 songs, something like that, right? You have, not only Final Fantasy, but also all the, Chrono Trigger and so on. Yeah, so it's an enjoyable game. If you're a big fan of Square Enix, those music games are pretty fun, actually. And they're like super easy. I mean, they're not super hard either, but it's like pretty okay. Quite enjoyable. Then most of the games here are just now, re-outgivings. Now, there's an FF4 game somewhere, I guess, here. The later years, which is pretty decent. If you can find it. So we have this a mobile game, Exus. Well, that's Crisis Core course. I was wondering what that game was. That's probably like here. Is it better than FF5? I would say that I think 10.2 is better. But that's a classic. That has to be Crisis Core course, yeah. With Zack, which also is a good spin-off. I don't think it's not nearly as good as a 13.2, which is a much better spin-off. But it's somewhere around like 10.2 level of it. It's a good spin-off, but it isn't the best. It's definitely better than Vincent spin-off. And Dirge of Cerberus, I think, is a decent game. So that's probably pretty fair, actually, to have it up there. I think that's probably pretty accurate. What more do we have? Well, actually, I have played this game. I actually kind of like this game. This is the tower defense. This actually quite enjoyed the tower defense games. It's like up here somewhere, and so on. But yeah, the rest of the listed guys are just like mobile games, which I have played many of them. So don't get me wrong, I played many of these games, but they're either like mobile games that have basically been yeah, they are basically like. Been defunct, most of them, after a year or two, right? Like Brave X so on, and most of them are like that. Either mobile games or it's like some weird, like remake of some of them. And then we have the wrong title games, like I said earlier. I'm not gonna go into like Saga games and those games here, right? So it's Legend, it's like Seiken and Saga and so on. So I don't bother with those. And this is like FF12, some other remade of that, right? So this is like the DLC for 15. Yeah, the DLC. You have to read the DLC too. No, but I think it's enough, guys. I don't care about this. This is a bunch of other mobile games, chocobo games. This is kind of the list, guys, and then you can put the mobile games all in trash, right? No, but seriously, all the mobile games are just trash. FF15 mobile game is just trash, man. But here we have the full list down. I can move myself a little bit. Beautiful. Move on then. Can move away a bit. Where's my button? There it is. So, here's the full list, right? All the FF games ranked here, right? I have ignored the mobile games, I suppose, but who cares about random like mobile game that cancelled to 1 year, right? But otherwise, it's the final list, and yeah, like first of all, I just really, really, really hate 16 and 15. I keep saying it. FF7 remake Tomorow better be good, but seriously, right? I mean, 16 is a bad game that it's so braindead. I loathe it so much. But anyway, yeah, the full list. I genuinely think that FF13.2 has the best gameplay of all the FF games. 13.2 is amazing. Like, it's ridiculously amazing. The storyline is terrible though. Now it's okay, but storyline is just mid. So in one way, I would actually put it like further down here. I might put it like somewhere, here somewhere, in lack of like good storyline and so on. But from a pure gameplay aspect, it actually is the best FF game. It combines Pokemon, Chrono Trigger, and the best combat system of Fantasy. So it is the winner, I feel, honestly. It's a better game than 7, if you ignore the storyline. If you ignore the storyline, okay? It is the better game. Vagrant Story, I kind of sneaked in here because it's the same universe, right? But also, it's a fantastic game. FFT is also a fantastic game. Much better than most of the main story games, right? And then, of course, 12, 13, 9, 10, 6, and so on, all top tier games. 10-2, also a really good spin-off, right? And good score, yeah. 4, 5, FFTA, also a great game, terrible storyline. And then FF8, which is a tedious game. Bunch of side games, FF2 or something. Whatever, relevant board should be done. The first games isn't that good actually. Like the first game wasn't very good, honestly. And then we have the earlier mentioned trash tier games. But obviously the accurate list. Like I said, I didn't throw in all the mobile games. So who cares? They're all trash basically, right? And I couldn't find FF4 in this tedious though. That game I put in good, I guess. Yeah, FF4 after the later years, what it's called, it's decent. It's the other game missing from the list. 13, 15, 16. We don't care about the DLC stuff. Yeah, the list doesn't have FF7, weirdly enough. Yeah, it doesn't have FF7 remake here in this list, right? But I think that's fine. I kind of removed that purposely. They said earlier, but yeah, I removed it purposely because it's like, well, we're still waiting for it. But yes, I wasn't a big fan of part 1, right? I didn't hate it. Okay, part 1 is like, it's hard to judge because I felt they have the exact same issue as 15 and 16, and it's far too easy. But it's harder than they are, and the combat system is better than they have, and it has a better like storyline and one. But I think that I say they last right. But I'm excited for Tomorrow because of course obviously what I liked the most in the first part was everything around it, right? Talking about early with 10 and 7 and so on. FF part 1 lacked everything around it, the card game, chocobo and so on, right? And given what I've seen so far with 7, I try not to get spoiled, but I've seen the card course, you have all that stuff, right, in FF7 part 2 now. So I think it's going to be a better game. You have a little bit of exploration, a little bit open world, right? Open world, but some kind of, world map and so on. If you say it's a better game, because the first part was, it was weird. I felt like I lacked half of what makes an FF game, right? So that was strange. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, like button, and if we get a lot of likes, right, then we do, I guess, Square Enix as a company or something. But that will be such a longer list. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, this was nothing compared to going in. And also I feel like if you do the whole company, you really want to review the games more in detail, right? Because the combat system might differ so much. Now at least like 4 and 5 and 6 have almost same combat system, right? And like, well, isn't the same in like 13 and 12 or whatever, but it's somewhat similar. But if you go into like completely other games, they might have very different combat systems, very different gameplays, different storytelling and so on, right? 32 is probably the one that's the most different stories, but the M tend to, for some reason, the spin-off games clearly have way more like crazy storyline. Well, I mean storyline as in like twist, I mean like how they actually present it. Because in 13.2 you have the time travel all the time, right? So it has a very different, like you can explore the storyline in any order you want. And in 10.2 you have to go through every area and get some cutscenes. And those games have way more different, like weirder way to present the storyline. It's clearly way more experimental, right? With not the main story games, certainly. And when it comes to the other Square Enix games, right, that are not obviously like Dragon Quest Fantasy, they usually again are more experimental. So you can have some really weird games, and also I was saying Square Enix, right? You might make a Squaresoft and an Enix and so on, yeah, because they used to be two different companies. And honestly, I probably would make it like a Squaresoft first of all, and then something like that to make it easier. But I think that I will work on one day making like a console per console, right? And just to be fair, guys, and I really mean it, it takes some time to make the video. Of course, the video itself now is like over an hour. I have the timer as possible, right? But it generally takes some time making the video. I like the video because I think about it a lot, right? Because now I know all these games, I played all of them, and I know it in my head, of course, but I have to think a lot and write down some notes and all these mechanics and so on. I will admit, most still comes from my memory, of course it does, but before I made the video, I sit down, I look at all the games again, I look over a bit, look some of my older notes, so it's a lot of like preparation, I feel, to kind of like think about all the different aspects of the game and so on, right? Genuinely, certainly. That being said, I don't have like I never use like a manuscript, but I don't have any videos. No matter what I do, I never use a manuscript. I'm always been the guy, I just think about it a lot before, right? I spend a few hours before making the video, looking at all the games, looking at videos of the games, reading about the games, so on, and then so then I think about what I want to say about each game, right? How much I hate these games. Yeah. But yeah, so you guys have a great day.